I have a couple things to share with you today that I think might help you either in your role or that you might be able to share with teachers or families. The first of which I believe is pronounced Glow Dojo. So Glow Dojo is an easy way to translate and learn, in their words, as you're doing other things. So this is an extension that works with Google Chrome. And essentially, like while you're watching a YouTube video, I think we all know, like, you can use the captions and, have the captions across the bottom. Except with Glow Dojo, you can have that translate instantly into 70 plus languages, which is really cool. So in their words, you can essentially be learning new languages alongside of, whatever your native language may be, which I think is really neat. So, with all of this, it's going to work with all the other video features. So if you're pausing things, if you're playing things back, it will have all of those available to you. And what's nice about this is it doesn't just work with YouTube videos. So you'll see in their image over on the side, it works with Netflix videos, it works with Rakuten, it works with Amazon, a lot of the platforms where our families are, where our students are going to work alongside Glow Dojo. So I tried to give you a couple different resources. If you click the little link down in the bottom corner, that's going to take you to their website, which is going to give you a little bit more information about them. You can read up on it. If you were going to share this with someone else in your district, I would send them to this page. So nothing difficult, glotdojo.com. And from here, the user gets to kind of pick what they're searching for. So this instance is going to bring you to the Chrome extension that, like I said, is you're in your web browser and you're trying to access your videos, again, whether that's YouTube or Netflix or beyond. As long as you're in your Chrome browser, then you could use that extension to follow along with those translations, which I think is really fun. So that's the first one. The second one is something that I actually created, and part of the reason why I'm sharing it with you here in this meeting is because these are actual places from around our community. So I was asked by a math teacher here in my home district, which is Perry Local. I was asked by them to, create just a financial document basically that teaches kids like how money goes in and how money goes out, right? So as they're going to their local Chipotle, as they're going to order a pizza, as they start getting little jobs around the community, those things all add up, right? It's not just, money falls from the sky and I magically get all of these things. That would be really swell if they did, but it doesn't work that way. So what I really like about this, and this is all credit to the teacher that I was working with, is she said, like, I don't want this to be like pie in the sky type things or like fake things. I want them to be actual places and businesses that our students are going to see within our community. So I want you to see this because you're going to see things that are around our area. But this is also a really wonderful opportunity to connect this up with, students that you may be working with to say, like, these are not only places in our community, but these are, how might you communicate this to a person who is, speaking a language that is different from English? So, like I said, just kind of highlight some of those places, highlight some of the activities, kind of a nice way to get somebody acclimated to our area if they're wondering what things are around or what things might be available or what kids, in that middle school age might be into. It's a good opportunity for that. And so you'll see all those prices and stuff. Most of the prices are authentic. So, I went onto the websites, and like this one, for example, it's to rent a kayak at Sippo Lake, which is just down the street here from me. If that's something that you wanted to do, that actually costs you $15 to do. This is an actual Chipotle receipt that, I stole off the internet. And you'll see all kinds of other things. So just a really fun way to communicate, actions and jobs and tasks and just things that are happening around our community. If you wanted to balloon that out and make this like a partnership lesson with a math classroom, I also included, you'll see like little paychecks. So it's built on a 4-week system where, a student can get a paycheck at the end of each week. So I built all those in. Again, those are local community places, and they are all very literally the actual hourly rate that a person would receive for working at those businesses. So it's a really fun partnership opportunity to, like I said, bring in math as well as our world languages too, which I think is really neat. The next thing that I have for you is the text chat animator. So you see an example on the side of your screen here. Essentially what text chat animator does is it allows you to fabricate or to create a texting conversation between 2 to 4 different people. So think about how like you pull up your phone, you see these big text threads. Text chat animator allows you to create all of those completely from scratch. So you'll notice in the example, this is one that I did. This is between myself and our lovely county curriculum director, Janelle Schuler, who is my boss. So that's why you're seeing that conversation come through about me getting a raise. So it's just a really fun way that you can communicate to at least show those conversations in a different way. Now you'll notice that the way that I typed this in was English. So English is my native language. However, text chat animator is going to allow you to type in whatever language you would prefer. So this is a really great opportunity to create a video for students, for families, in a different way that you can communicate information, that students can actually, set up these conversations between people to really make something authentic. Now, I say that with the caveat that you'll notice this kind of looks like iMessage if you're an Apple user. It kind of looks like the GChat messages if you're like an Android user, but it's not, right? So what I like about this is it's close, but it's not an exact duplicate. So we as teachers, we're not using this to try and like fake or to fool people, because obviously we can see that that's like, this isn't an exact comp, but this is an educational tool that is really, really well done. That's close enough without it, going on the other side of that fine line of like, is this something that we want to really be showing our kids? I think this is right in the sweet spot. So to show you a little bit of how it works, you'll notice that I have 4 fake characters across the top, and I can also customize these. So what I'm going to do is click on that little cloud with the hour, or with the arrow pointing up, and I'm going to insert my own image here. So I'm going to search my my files here and see if I can't find my profile picture. Where are you? There we go. So as I hit open, you'll notice that that character then changes to my face. I can then change that name down below too to become my name. And when I do, you'll notice that over on the left, that example, that preview is constantly updating. So for the sake of time, you can do this for all of the other 3 people. You can have this be a conversation between just 2 people, between 3 people, totally up to you. Down below is where you get to select that. So you'll notice in the example, it's using myself, it's using Kevin, it's using Bob, and it's using this character Jesse. So if you wanted to, you could just have this be a back and forth between 2 people. So maybe this is a conversation that Kevin and I are having. So you'll notice now all of those little avatars have changed. This is just me, and this is just Kevin that are having that conversation. So anything that I type in is going to appear over here on the side as a part of my conversation. So if you have like special characters, or if you have a certain keyboard, attached to your account, to like your Google account or to your very literal keyboard, those will all populate. All of the special characters will populate. So so that's really cool. Again, we're creating that authentic experience for kids to not only be able to communicate, things about their building or about their life, but this is a really wonderful way for them to, for students to discuss like character interactions in novels or in stories, or just in general student life, right? How we interact and communicate with each other. The premise here is we create this conversation. If this isn't enough space for you, you can always add another message, and that will keep going down the line more and more and more. Again, you get to pick who those people are that are saying those different things. And then you can save those in two different ways. So the option that you saw over here in the sample that I showed you, this is a GIF. So this is just that moving picture. When it gets to the end, it automatically goes back to the beginning, and so on and so on. So if you're working on Text Chat Animator, you would have to come down here and toggle that switch to on. It's always going to create this video for you that's saved as a .webm. That's just a video file. It's always going to do that. You cannot toggle that one off. But if you would like the GIF, which I would say is probably more universal or easier for you to share and to save and put into presentations and whatnot, then you'll want to definitely toggle that on. Now, when you hit record animation, it's basically going to go through your text thread one more time. It's going to save that up for you. You'll get that file as your WebM file. And then as soon as that download is done, then it will go to the GIF file for you. And then you can do with those as you please. So like I said, if that's sharing it as a part of a presentation, if that's sending it in an email or whatnot, all of those features will be available to you. Okay. Are there any questions about any of those three before we go on to our last tool? Okay, so the big one here that I wanted to come on and share is pretty revolutionary for the way that we currently teach and the way that education is going to go. Now, I realize that that sounds super hyperbolic, and you're probably looking at me like I'm talking crazy. However, what ChatGPT is, if you're unfamiliar, this is like an AI language that is currently open and available to anyone who wants to grab an account. And think of like all of the questions that you've ever asked in a Google search. Instead of it just like producing results, right? Which we know that like companies can pay for priority on those results. ChatGPT basically eliminates all of that and just gives you answers. So it's direct. There's no like outside involvement in terms of like what answers get prioritized. It's just looking for the best way to answer your question. Now, with that being said, it will answer literally everything. It's like a taskmaster for you. So you can also ask it to do things for you. So as you see here in this example, when I created this slide, it was right around Christmas time, and one of my favorite Christmas movies is A Muppet Christmas Carol. It's the definitive version of A Christmas Carol. If you've never seen it, just trust me on that one. And so basically I said, hey, I'd like for you to write a review of A Muppet's Christmas Carol. And it produced the text that you see down there below. What ChatGPT will also do is it can customize it. So it understands nuance, meaning you could say, write a review of A Muppet Christmas Carol for a third grader. And it will produce a response for you that a third grade reader could understand. It also has the power to write and debug really complicated computer code. It has the power to manage and manipulate data. It even has the power to tutor our students. So I say all this to say that like this is the first, but it's absolutely not going to be the last, major AI instance that is impacting our classrooms. We're already using this in a lot of other spaces without us really knowing. So I'm thinking of like if you've ever shopped on Amazon and you type the thing that like you have a question, most of the time you're talking with a chat bot. So I'm asking it a question, it's giving me an answer. Where this really changes here, as we're talking about Chat GPT and other, AI languages, is the ability to ask it to do literally anything that's in our brain, to have it construct those things. So what I wanted to do was share with you this resource bank. So if you click down here, basically what I have been doing in my travels, when I see a resource or something that someone has created that I think is worthwhile in regards to, AI or into chatbots or whatnot, I've been popping them into this folder so that we can learn, not only how it's being used, but best practices to use with students. Now, I do also want you to know that on their website, they as you're creating your account, they make you say that I think the age is 17. I really don't want to be misquoted on that one, but I think that's what the age range is to use this. So like if you're not of that age, then you can't create an account. But I think we all know that that age question has never stopped a student from doing anything that they've wanted to, access online before. So that gatekeeper, that's going to do nothing. However, it really has the power to take the place of, of our own writing in, the flash of a second here. So I came to this screen to show you some other examples of some things that it can do. So, you could ask it, generate a set of reading comprehension questions for a passage on whatever, create a set of discussion prompts, generate this list of 5 individual learning activities. You can even ask it things like, hey, I want you to write a lesson plan for me on X. You can say, I want a rubric on, whatever it may be, and it'll do it for you. So the key to all of this is basically just to, for me at least, telling you all of this, I want you to know that this exists. I want you to know that your students know that this exists, and that it has the capability of doing all of their work for them. So all their written work on a computer for them. So really look at it with a critical eye when it comes to student work. Now, I say all this to say that this isn't just for like nefarious purposes, right? I don't want you to think of this as like, ooh, this is this terrible, awful thing. I can't believe this is coming. This is going to change everything. This is so terrible. That's not the case at all. ChatGPT has the ability to understand different languages as well. So I'm trying to pop it up in another window, and I'm getting my little spinning wheel. So hopefully that will allow me to jump on there, and so that way I can show it to you. But oh, perfect, I got it. So so down here in the bottom, you can, ask it to do anything that you want to. So like I said, it could be something as simple as like a Google question, what you would normally go to Google for, but it could also be something like write a poem about flowers in Japanese characters. And so when I, ask it to do things, it'll say, basically it's going through its, all of its possibilities. And then we should see it go into characters as well, which I've seen it do this. So that's how I know that it is capable of doing it. But let's try this one. I wonder, write a poem in Chinese. I know it can do it. I've seen you do it. We'll see if we can't get that to pop up here. But the whole point is, I gave it a very simple prompt to write using Japanese characters, and it has produced all of this with just one click, right? So the power for this to, like I said, completely revolutionize what we're doing in our classrooms is, unparalleled. You can see some other things I've done here over on the side. So this was an email that I needed to send about our upcoming high impact conference for educators. And instead of writing the email from scratch, I just said, hey, I need you to generate an email based on the information that I'm giving you. It said, what information do you want? I said, this is the paragraph that I want. And then it basically took all of that and created this really nice email for me. So all I did was I copied, I pasted it into the email, and now we have this really professional, looking email that is on there. Now, that is also not to say that it is capable of lying. It is also capable of, producing misinformation. And so usually, when I've been talking to teachers about this, I encourage them to, look at what is being produced. This is a great starting point for an email. I didn't just copy this, paste it, and hit send, right? I actually read through and said, well, that's not actually what I'm trying to say. I'd rather it say this. Or, it's weird that it highlighted this area, but not the other one. I need people to know this other thing too. And so this email was a great starting point for me. It, allowed me to get all of my ideas out in one place, but then I was able to customize it and make it into something good. So, so don't use what is produced for you as, the gospel, as the final end product here. Know that you're going to want to customize it or putting it into your own words. That way it comes off a little bit more like you. So here's the example that I was showing you, and I'm not exactly sure why it didn't pop up before, but basically I said hey, I want you to write a tweet for me. So it understands what Twitter is. It understands the length that it can possibly be. You'll notice that it also typed in my hashtags for me. So all I had to do is replace the bracketed information. And then I said, I want you to write a poem in Japanese characters about flowers. And then it produced this for me. So you'll notice here are those characters and then that poem that is down below. So really, really cool. Like I said, this is a really big inflection point for education. I, at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, once this goes, full blown, things may never be the same in education. I really don't know. The possibilities with this are really endless. But it's up to us as educators to help students understand the power of what is behind this, and how they can harness that for good, and how to use this as a tool, not how to use this to replace human thinking and the things that they actually need to learn and should be learning. So like I said, there's a lot to consider here with ChatGPT and larger chat bots as a whole, and AI language and AI tools. But as like I said, as we're trying to communicate with people who may not have English as their primary language, this is a wonderful way that you can type in prompts or type in emails in one language and ask it to translate it into another in a flash. It's really, really powerful and super duper helpful. Has anyone on the call seen this previously? Obviously, Dana and Christina, discluded or off to the side. I know that you guys have seen it, but has anyone else